In news today, doctor's death unleashes mourning in China, and NMU students present significant other at James A. Panowski Black Box Theater.
Later, weather with Joseph Sigourney and sports with Max Stevens. Hi, I'm Ross Ray.
And I'm Alexis Ham. Welcome to Public Eye News. Next week, Northern Michigan University Department of Theater and Dance will be presenting the play Significant Other. The performance follows four friends in their mid-20s searching for love in New York City, one of them being Jordan, who finds it difficult finding the right guy while also supporting his loved ones and friends. Each show will be at 7:30 p.m. in the James A. Panowski Black Box Theater on Thursday, February 13th, Saturday, February 15th, Wednesday, February 19th, and Saturday, February 22nd. A Theater for All performance that is directed towards adults with autism will be presented on Saturday the 15th at 1 p.m. as well. Additionally, there will be an opening night party on Thursday, February 13th, right outside the Black Box Theater, which will include food, drinks, a photo booth, and an opportunity to meet the cast. And this week, Michigan announced a historic statewide transfer agreement involving community colleges and four-year colleges and universities. 4 of these transfer agreements were signed, which involved the 28 community colleges in Michigan and 25 of the universities and colleges in the state as well. A study conducted by the National Student Clearinghouse found that 52% of bachelor degree earners in Michigan previously enrolled at a community college, which is higher than the national average of 49%. These agreements will allow community college students to transfer even more of their credits in the biology, psychology, criminal justice, and business programs at the university of their choosing.
Another brewing company has come to the UP. Located on East Superior Street in downtown Musing, By George had a pretty packed opening over the weekend. According to partner and brewer Matthew Johnson, saying, quote, "It was pretty overwhelming. We were definitely humbled by the turnout. We had support from our local family, friends, and contractors that we've had," end quote. Currently, By George has 7 beers available, along with 3 wines, 14 taps, and a root beer. By George is currently open for business and is closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. And according to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Detroit District, January 2020 had water levels higher on all lakes than they were in January 2019. And I expect to continue the trend into spring and summer. Lake Superior, Michigan, and Huron all had new record high levels in January, previously set in the late 1980s, while Lake St. Clair tied its record high level set in January 1986. Several natural factors contribute to the record high lake levels, including persistent wet conditions and warmer than normal temperatures, leading to a greater runoff and reduced evaporation across the Great Lakes Basin. The Corps urges those impacted by the high water levels of 2019 to prepare for similar higher levels again in 2020.
And this week, Iowa held their Democratic and Republican caucuses, which helped make them the first in the nation. The state was expecting to see where the Democratic candidates stand, but this answer was delayed due to an error with the app used to process the data. This information has prepared Michigan to be ready for any possible difficulties they may face in the primaries, which are scheduled for March 10th. Primaries are a way of ensuring that any mishaps are less likely to happen due to its similarity to traditional voting. Northern Michigan University political science professor Steve Nelson was quoted saying, "There's a paper trail there that we can always go back to. So if there's a challenge and people say, oh, those results from Marquette County just don't look right, we can go back and double check that," unquote. And Governor Gretchen Whitmer has announced the proposed 2020 to 2021 fiscal year budget. The $61.9 billion budget includes investment in water, climate, and education, with more than $120 million being invested in special education services and support for economically disadvantaged students across the state. Challenges have been present regarding the state's general fund, which has changed due to road funding and other projects. Budget talks will continue in the House and state in Lansing, and they will have until July 1st to agree on the new budget. And after this break, we'll be back with your national and international news.
If you're living with extra pounds you think you'll never lose, suffering with blood sugar imbalance, low energy, joint pain, brain fog, or a slow metabolism, there is an ancient nutritional practice that may be the solution you've been looking for. The keto diet is an effective transformational approach to meeting your body's nutritional needs, boosting your brain health, and tapping into its innate ability to burn fat as fuel.
Late tonight at 1 a.m.
Welcome back. The man accused of killing 22 people in a shooting targeted Mexicans on the border of the city of El Paso, Texas, has been charged with federal hate crimes. The man has been charged with 90 counts under federal hate crime and firearm laws for his role in the shooting that took place on August 3rd. The Department of Justice will consult the defense and victims' families before deciding if they will pursue the death penalty, though the decision is up to Attorney General William Burr. Assistant Attorney General Eric DeBrand of the DOJ Civil Rights Division expressed his thoughts on the matter, saying, quote, "People in our nation have the right to go to a store on Saturday morning without fear that they will be shot and killed because of who they are or where they're from," end quote. And if you don't feel like going out to eat, there are now plenty of delivery apps to make it easier than ever to have your food brought to your door. And growth in this business is changing the ways restaurants operate. Tom Hansen reports.
The restaurant chain Be Good offers a healthy menu, including chicken, salads, and wraps. But there's something missing at this Chicago location: no seats or customers. All the dishes made here are for delivery only. It's what's known as a ghost kitchen.
As real estate prices go up in downtown Chicago, there's restaurants that are looking to have their footprint here in the city that just can't afford to do your traditional brick and mortar.
These kitchens have become popular with the explosion of traffic on food delivery apps like Grubhub and Uber Eats. And that's why established restaurants are also getting in on the act. Fredo's in Illinois is known for its pizza, but the company is also making sandwiches in the kitchen and delivering them under the name Cheesy Deliciousness.
You have to try to see what trends are coming and try to get ahead of the game on that as much as possible.
It's a similar story at this San Francisco restaurant. Customers come to Top Round for the roast beef, but owner Ricky Lopez saw a market for more and now uses the kitchen for 3 delivery-only restaurants with specialties from chicken to ice cream.
Brings in more, opportunities to make more sales overall.
It's a business model that's taking off. Market analysts predict significant growth in digital restaurant orders this year. Tom Hansen, CBS News, New York.
And the doctor who was reprimanded for warning China of the coronavirus has died. This created an outpour of rage in the people of China towards the communist authorities, who blame that they put politics above the safety of the people. Dr. Li Wenliang died overnight in the Wuhan Central Hospital where he worked and likely contracted the virus. Li was one of the 8 doctors who was reprimanded in December for warning friends on social media of the coming outbreak. The World Health Organization has complimented China's response to the outbreak and said in a tweet that, quote, "We are deeply saddened by the passing of Dr. Li Wenliang. We all need to celebrate the work that he did on the virus," end quote. And Democrats and Republicans in Washington are moving on after a long and bitter impeachment fight, but President Trump is not ready to let it go. The president blasted his opponents who impeached him, and he threatened political payback. Wei Jiazhang was at the White House for yesterday's victory lap.
This is what the end result is.
President Trump flashed the front page headline for the country to see. Senators found him not guilty.
It's called total acquittal.
The speech, which the president coined a celebration, evolved into a full-throttle attack of everything from the Mueller investigation.
Russia, Russia, Russia. It was all bull.
To Senator Mitt Romney, the only GOP senator who voted to convict him.
Things can happen when you fail so badly running for president.
To the Democrats who impeached him.
Adam Schiff is a vicious, horrible person. Nancy Pelosi is a horrible person.
Before Mr. Trump's remarks, the House Speaker said this.
I pray hard for him because he's so off the track of our Constitution.
The president responded, questioning her faith.
She may pray, but she prays for the opposite. But I doubt she prays at all.
Former President Bill Clinton apologized after being acquitted in 1999.
I want to say again to the American people how profoundly sorry I am.
In sharp contrast, this was the only apology Mr. Trump offered.
I want to apologize to my family for having them have to go through a phony, rotten deal.
And while Mr. Clinton's 1-minute, 38-second address called for unity.
This must be a time of reconciliation.
For over an hour, the president did not.
These are the crookedest, most dishonest, dirtiest people I've ever seen.
And after the break, we'll be back with your weather and sports. Stay tuned.
For me, black language is natural. That's the language, the first language I speak. It's my first language.
African Americans are trying to say, who am I? Language can give us some indication.
It's so interesting, this issue of language, identity.
It's what we did with what we had, and that is not just sufficient, it's more than enough.
Sunday afternoon at 3 on WNMU TV.
Welcome back to Public Eye News. I am Joseph Sigourney here with your weather updates. Currently, it is snowing and it is coming down. We're expected to get around 3 to 6 inches up until about 7 o'clock when it should calm down. Right now, temperature is 19 degrees and winds north at 14 miles per hour, and barometric pressure is 29.84 inches and rising. Tonight it'll be cloudy with a low of 9 degrees and winds north-northwest at 14 miles per hour. Tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a high of 22 and winds south-southwest at 7 miles per hour. And our current temperatures in the UP in Sault Ste. Marie 18, Manistee 22, Escanaba 25, and Menominee 27. And over here on the western side in Iron Mountain 22, Ironwood 20, Houghton 15, and back here Marquette 19 and snowing. And looking ahead to start our week, on Sunday it'll be a high of 27, a low of 13 and cloudy. Monday high of 33, a low of 21 and mostly sunny. And Tuesday high of 29, low of 21 and mostly cloudy. And as it's pretty cold here in Marquette, I heard that the Wildcats are really tearing it up and heating it up on the basketball court.
That's right, Joe. It's tough to beat a pair of victories. Our NMU basketball teams had a good night last night as both the men and women posted wins over Wisconsin Parkside. The men's team came away with a 55-43 victory as senior big man and two-time All-GLIAC defender Miles Howard etched himself into NMU basketball history, setting the record for most blocked shots in a career. Howard blocked 3 shots last night to give him the record at 213 blocks for his career. Then the women secured a narrow 60-55 victory as senior forward Jessica Schultz had her way with Parkside defenders in the post, drawing fouls and scoring at will. Both Wildcat teams now sit at 11-11 and prepare to host Purdue Northwest for men's and women's game tomorrow at 1 and 3 p.m. in the Berry Events Center. And the Northern Michigan hockey team is on the road for yet another tough challenge as they prepare to take on the third-ranked Minnesota State Mankato Mavericks. The Wildcats have their work cut out for them as they'll be taking on one of the top goaltenders in college hockey, Dryden McKay, who boasts the top goals allowed average in the country at 1.36 and is second in the country in save percentage at 94, trailing Michigan State's John Letherman for the lead in that category by just 0.03%. The last time these two teams met, the series was a split as the Wildcats picked up a 4-1 victory over the then top-ranked Mavericks on December 14th. Worth noting, however, is that in that victory, the Wildcats did all their scoring against Mavericks backup goalie Jacob Berger and an empty net, and not against McKay. However, the Wildcats have been on fire offensively over their last 4 games, posting 18 goals. Puck drop for tonight's game is set for 8 p.m. from Mankato. And as the NBA trade deadline came and went yesterday, the Detroit Pistons were active as they traded 2-time All-Star and the NBA's leading rebounder Andre Drummond to the Cleveland Cavaliers. In exchange, the Cavaliers have sent to Detroit John Henson, Brandon Knight, and a 2023 second-round draft pick. The Pistons traded the 26-year-old Drummond as he had an opt-out clause in his contract for next season, and the organization feared Drummond would leave in free agency. It was because of that contract status that the Pistons didn't get much in return for the big man. Henson has missed much of this season due to injury, and Brandon Knight has seen a reduced role behind Darius Garland and Colin Sexton and has an expiring contract. The Pistons selected Drummond with the 9th overall pick in the 2012 draft, and the big man is currently averaging career bests in points per game at 17.8 and rebounds per game at 15.8, and for the first time in his career, won't be suiting up in a Detroit uniform. And with that, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks very much for joining us today on Public Eye News, and we'll see you all Monday.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.